91.7. Rm1, it's 9 o'clock. The news presented by Ayrece Stewart. Good morning, Ayrece.
Good morning, Sophie.
The headlines.
Crisis deepens at Bank of Mauritius as resignations and allegations of interference shake investor confidence and raise fears for economic stability. Authorities abandon costly floating power plant plan, shift focus to energy efficiency, and India-backed solar and LNG projects to meet rising summer demand. Reward money probe intensifies. FCC reveals missing original payment vouchers as investigators race to trace key documents in high-stakes case. Kalpana Kunjusha faces court alone, sparking questions over political isolation after MSM figures withhold visible support. In world news, scientists warn 7 of 9 planetary boundaries breached as carbon emissions drive ocean acidification and threaten Earth's life support systems. And in sports, Ale Maurice draws inside gate for Mauritius Telecom Bob Cup as Manuel Nunez prepares to lead Gajadar Stable's charge in high-stakes race this weekend. The Bank of Mauritius, long seen as a pillar of the country's financial stability, is facing one of its most serious crises in recent history. Resignations, allegations of political interference, and the Prime Minister's call for Governor Matinale to step down have shaken the institution and raised questions about the impact on the economy, investor confidence, and the island's status as a financial hub. For weeks, the central bank, guardian of Mauritius's monetary stability, has been under pressure. The resignation of second Deputy Governor Ayrece and claims of internal interference have cast doubt on its independence. Economist Manisha Dukoni warns this loss of trust could have damaging economic effects. At the center of the turmoil is the Mauritius Investment Corporation, created during the pandemic to support the economy. Of its 81 billion rupees, part went unused and returned to the bank. To curb inflation, 28 billion rupees will now be withdrawn and destroyed. Dukoni stresses that careful management and full transparency are crucial. Rebuilding confidence in the central bank is urgent. Its next decisions will directly influence financial stability, investor sentiment, and the country's economic trajectory. And moving to news related to power supply, everything suggests that the authorities will not move forward with the floating power plant project, despite interest shown by 2 bidders. With summer approaching and a surge in electricity demand expected, the CEB and the Ministry of Energy are now focusing on a large-scale energy efficiency campaign while waiting for the rollout of India-backed projects such as floating solar panels at Tamarin Falls and the introduction of liquefied natural gas. We listen to more on this report by Didier Rose, voiced over by Christian Sitcha.
Although no official announcements has yet been made, everything suggests that the floating power plant project running on heavy fuel oil will not go ahead. Considered too costly and too risky for the environment, it appears to have been abandoned. Still, while waiting for energy projects backed by India, the authorities must urgently find solutions to avoid the risk of blackouts. As a reminder, the country needs to produce an additional 90 to 110 megawatts. One of the main options being considered is an energy efficiency campaign which would require collaboration from the private sector. Discussions have been initiated so that during periods of high demand, certain companies, notably hotels and shopping centers, disconnect from the CEB grid and use their own production sources such as solar panels or generators. According to our information, several operators have already agreed. At the same time, the authorities will launch a nationwide awareness campaign to promote responsible energy consumption with a special focus on the use of air conditioners. The ministry recommends setting thermostats between 24 degrees Celsius and 26 degrees Celsius to help reduce overconsumption. This campaign is expected to officially launch in the coming weeks.
And moving to the courts, the court appearance of former Police Commissioner Anil Kumar Dip yesterday revealed some troubling elements. The acting chief investigator at the Financial Crimes Commission stated that the original payment vouchers tied to the reward money case are missing. The FCC says it is still searching for these crucial documents. So far, investigators have only managed to recover 35 copies. The original vouchers had been handed over to Assistant Police Commissioner Danraz Gangadin, who has also been arrested in this case. The FCC investigator said efforts are underway to trace these records, which were supposed to be kept at police headquarters. He added that investigations into the reward money affair began in March this year, and that officers have been looking for these documents since then. And still on the reward money affair, 12 days after his arrest, former Commissioner Anil Kumar Dip had sworn an affidavit in the Supreme Court. He claims to be the victim of political revenge and insists on his innocence. To support his claims, he attached answers to parliamentary questions related to the reward money scheme. He also stated that on April 10th, he submitted a declaration of his assets to the FCC and maintains he owns no property in Dubai. In his affidavit, the former head of the Central Barracks says he has been denied his right to a fair investigation. And finally, in other court-related news, on leaving the Pamplemousse court on Monday, Kalpana Kunjusha walked the 20 meters to her car alone without support. No close aides, no visible backing from the MSM, the party under whose banner she once served as Minister of Gender Equality. A striking scene that did not go unnoticed, the former minister alone before the cameras and microphones, without political allies or any particular security detail. More on this with Anjali Siratan-Puchan.
On her arrival, as well as when leaving the courthouse, there was not a single member of the MSM there to show public support. Only journalists eager to get her reaction, an absence that raises many questions. Is Kalpana Kunjusha politically isolated in this highly publicized case? The former minister, as you now know, was stopped last week at the checkout of the Carrefour hypermarket in Richter. She is suspected of stealing cosmetic products worth about 2,000 rupees, an accusation she categorically denies. In a statement, Kalpana Kunjusha spoke of a smear campaign aimed at distracting the public from the scandals affecting the current government. She maintains she has never stolen anything and says she has instructed her lawyers to file complaints for defamation and spreading false information. But more than her line of defense, it's the feeling of abandonment that has struck public opinion. This scene contrasts sharply with the recent court appearances of other MSM figures when Pravin Jugnauth was heard in court or when his wife Kabita appeared before the FCC. Several party members gathered to publicly show solidarity. Nothing of the sort for Kalpana Kunjusha in what she calls an unfair ordeal. And when it comes to the question, is Kalpana Kunjusha politically isolated? Party insiders say everything has already been said in the former minister's statement.
And you're listening to Rm1. It's 9:08, where we move to international news. A team of global scientists issued a new report on Wednesday noting that 7 out of 9 of key planetary boundaries have been crossed. Carbon dioxide emissions have increased ocean acidification, which could have dire impacts on marine life. Humans are gambling with the very stability of Earth's life support systems, scientists warned on Wednesday, cautioning that ocean acidity was yet another key planetary threshold to be breached. A team of global scientists assessed that 7 out of 9 so-called planetary boundaries processes that regulate Earth's stability, resilience, and ability to sustain life had now been crossed. Climate change, biodiversity loss, deforestation, freshwater depletion, overuse of agricultural fertilizers, and the release of artificial chemicals and plastics into the environment were all already deeply in the red. In their new report, the scientists have said all 7 were showing trends of increasing pressure, suggesting further deterioration and destabilization of planetary health in the near future. And finally, on to sports. The draw for the starting gates of the Mauritius Telecom Barbe Cup was held Wednesday evening in Port Louis. One of the 3 horses from the Gajadar stable, Ale Maurice, drew the inside gate. He will be ridden by jockey Manuel Nunez. Among the other contenders, William Iron Arm will start from gate 4 and the gatekeeper from gate 7. 10 horses are expected at the starting line. And finally, in cycling at the Road World Championships in Kigali, Rwanda, 6 Mauritian riders took part in the mixed relay yesterday and finished in 12th place. Thanks to this performance, Mauritius earned 60 points in the UCI ranking. That's 10 points per rider. That's all from me this morning. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned now to the Intermediate playlist. Until